Good evening, family. Welcome to another edition of Thorough Black Talk with your sister Keisha, your brother Tad, and your brother Ashe SJ will be joining us shortly. Tonight, we are going to continue our discussion from last week. We had a great program last week. Shout out and thank you to our brother Salih Rowe
Yeah.
for coming in on the check-in and giving us some information that we most certainly needed because in mainstream media, when it comes to, the death or unfortunate circumstances of fire in our community, we really have someone who comes from that profession to come and give us an in-depth, detailed analysis of what it is that we're seeing. So I am thankful to our brother Salih, and he will be back with us in the near future. He's working on something special specifically for Thorough Black Talk. So we can't wait to have him with us. Brother Tad, how you feeling? How's your week been thus far?
My week was great. My week is great. Back on the plantation. But other than that, life is good. Unless the judge give it to you.
That's what I'm talking about. As long as we here, we healthy, we could keep moving forward. Not just in body, but also in mind. In these times right now, there is so much coming at the people that is very hard for so many to maintain their mental stability. So I'm glad that, the three of us have holding on pretty strong right now. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Um, I want to give a shout out to all of our viewers and supporters who come in every week and check us out. Everybody who shares the program, everybody who have discussions about the program, and to our great what should I say? I really don't like to say civil rights leaders. I really don't like to use that term. But those, elders who have come before us that are checking out our program and checking out what we're doing, we appreciate you. Just humble enough to have you even know what we're doing. But shout out to everybody on that, and a special shout out to Sister Joyce and Brother Monty, always on the check-in, always giving us information, and have a direct connection to some of our civil rights icons, if you will. So we're gonna get into all of that, and then, last week we didn't really get to touch on the careers and life of Sidney Poitier and Mtume, James Mtume. So we're gonna deal with that. Our brother BlakSmith will be joining us in a few minutes to continue our discussion or begin, if you will, of Ghislane Maxwell and the Maxwell family and what is all behind that, and everyone who was in her circle or was in her circle. Um, it's not no fluke. These people have had relationships for many, many years, and we're going to, deal with all of that tonight as well. Now, Brother Tab, before we get into it, I don't know if you've been listening, but well, actually, the president gave a speech yesterday or the other day, marking his second year in term. And one of the things that, well, several things that he said was he failed, um, but he didn't specifically say to who, although he inferred the African American community. Um, and all of these promises of what is to come or what he's trying to get done or what have you. But I myself, I'm not buying it. There's a lot of hidden language behind the scenes with that, especially as it relates to voter suppression. Um, that narrative paints the picture of African Americans. However, the policies and the agenda have nothing to do with African Americans. What did you think about that, Brother Tad? If you saw the speech
No, I
or
didn't.
not?
I did not see, Joe Biden's speech. Um, I'm gonna have to check it out, but I'm I don't even know how interested I am in hearing what Joe Biden has to say.
Well, I'll,
I
I'll
think he's
save
a
you the
loser,
pain. I'll
but
save you the pain.
yeah,
Don't bust your brain. Like I said, he was talking about voter suppression, and how it is that the Senate cannot get it done. Every few years, we get an amendment to extend voting rights. Um, that term in itself is troublesome, but voting rights for supposed African Americans. But now, the gamut covers illegal immigrant, residents, legal residents, um, people who are here just 30 days um, can vote in elections that affect all of us who have legacy here, who have lineage here. And I have a problem with that.
right.
There is no such thing as voter suppression for African Americans. And I would challenge anybody to bring that to the floor. Um, and as a matter of fact, Brother Tad, in 2012, Obama's term, black people outvoted everybody, 98%. We surpassed, in fact, the census, it was a census report in 2012 that confirmed that black people outvoted white folks in that election. So where is the suppression? Um, and we get caught up in these arguments, Brother Tad, when they say voter rights and they try to weave it in with Dr. King commentary and everybody else. It's crazy. But the problem in the bill, when you read it, has to do with non-citizens,
Right.
giving them the power of the vote. Now, I have a problem with that because they don't have the legacy here to attain such. I don't care how long you live in here. If you're not a citizen here, then your argument is null and void because we cannot go to someone else's territory or country and perform the same acts. So why is it different here? It's different here now because in the last few elections, the last three presidential elections, if you will, voter turnout has decreased. And that's across the board, not just African Americans. In my humble opinion, the problem is African Americans are now asking for tangibles. And without tangibles, they don't want to give up their vote. And so now, as I've been saying for years, that the two parties, the duopoly, is crumbling at the seams and they trying to grab for straws to maintain the status quo. Unfortunately, you have those who are elected by the people to speak on their behalf and to advocate on their behalf. However, they are not doing so. And this is a problem. So, for all of you out there, when you hear these comments about voter suppression and you, show me where, just show me where. Show me where. And don't give me that crap about Georgia either. Don't give me that because you had a black mayor, what's her name? Keisha Bottoms, the former mayor of Atlanta. She didn't get there by the Caucasian vote. So I'm just saying, what is this suppression? What are we talking about here? I need clarification, at least from the Senate, the vice president, and the president. I need clarification on what's going on here. So I don't want our people to be confused when they start hearing commentary about voter suppression. Show me the proof. Just in the last presidential election, when they won, did they not say they thanked the African American vote? So where is the suppression? Even Biden said, well, he said that blacks turned out more for him than they did Obama. That's what he said. So if that's the case, where is the suppression? Whose vote is being suppressed here? So, I just hope we all be careful when we engage in local elections. Be careful of who you're choosing and what their agendas are, because 9 times out of 10, it ain't yours. And this is how everyone else continues to win politically, and we're losing. Um, the Asian American community are fighting for this legislation because, as I mentioned here before the year end, on this program, you have in California these anchor baby moms who are coming in from China, having their children here so that they can be citizens, and then moving back and forward. So now they want supposed rights. You know, 76 of illegal immigrants are that of the Hispanic persuasion. Only less than 6%, 5.8 is black. So who are we fighting for here? Who's winning here? So, I don't know, but you don't have to bust your brain. Basically, he was copping a plea for not doing what he was supposed to do. Well, actually, he did do what he was supposed to do, because nobody put his foot to the fire when he came peddling for the vote.
Right.
Nobody, nobody. So I want to move on from that. Let's brother Tag got some commentary on that.
I
We
just want
gonna move.
that it all sounds so familiar. With the immigrants coming, with them being able to have rights. We saw this in the early 1900s, 1910, 1920s, when they said send us your sick and huddled masses, when they asked for the your Southern Europeans to come over here, which were the Irish, the Jews, and the Italians, to have them come over in droves. Remember, they initially wasn't considered white people. Remember, that's what they created them to be white. White was originally people of WASP, people of Anglo-Saxon stock, known as whites. I mean, WASP. We seen this before in the early turn of the centuries. Why? Because we were outpacing them. After the Emancipation Proclamation, once we got our quote unquote independence, and I'll say it's independence. I won't call it freedom, but I will say independence, because we were left alone for a little while to our own vices. And we built communities. We built cities and towns, and they were successful. And we started outpacing them. Not only did we start outpacing them economically, but also politically. Not only politically, but socially and familially. We started creating huge families. Our numbers started growing, which meant you have more voting power because there's more of us. Because remember, this is around the same time of Margaret Sanger. As they're asking Europeans to come over here to help bolster their population of whiteness, they were encouraging us to get abortions, to not reproduce. And I see this again with what's going on right now. Now they're asking immigrants to come. Why? Because, as you just stated, when we turn out the vote, things happen. However, now we're asking for tangibles. We're asking for things that's realistic, because we didn't get any of the things that were promised to us in decades prior. And now that we have this information, because information flows so fast now, you could just pick up your phone and find out anything. You don't have to search and wait months and weeks and write off the documents. You can just pull it up right now in real time. So our position has always been solidified that we deserve so much more than little handouts that they're giving. We deserve more than a street being named after somebody. We deserve more than one of our icons being put on a quarter or $20 bill. We deserve more than having Black Lives Matter painted in the streets. We need real economic restitution. Why? Because when we talk about what has happened to Black people in this country, we're not just talking about slavery. That's just the tip of the iceberg. We're talking about the institutions that were built intentionally to keep us down. We're talking about unions that were literally built to keep us out of the workforce. Why? Because we were the skilled labor that built this country. White men didn't have the skills that we had. We had the skills. We paved the roads. We built the cities. We built the White House. There is no America without us, before slavery and after slavery. But then we got to start talking about the Freedmen's Bureau. We got to start talking about these banks that stole money from us, insurance companies that stole money from us. We already know the origins of the police department, which we still seeing happen to this day, the brutality of black people. I mean, we've always been a problem for the United States. In fact, Abraham Lincoln, when he gave his speech, said that he won not in favor of black people being a superior race. He said, if it's up to him, white people will always hold a position of superiority. But what people don't know is that he wrote to the British Crown and told them, we're going to have problems with these people as long as they're here. As long as black people in America, white folks are going to have a problem. Why? Because what is owed to us. So when he was sending folks back to Africa, to Liberia, because he did say, when he wrote to the British Crown, he said, I need a colony to send some of these people back. Those who want to go to Africa can. Many of them went to Liberia because that was already colonized by Great Britain. So some people went back to Liberia to try to find their way back home. Others decided to stay here. But while we were here, we had nothing but issues. And we're still giving them hell. We're still giving them hell. They're giving us entertainment. This show, this program right here, just bringing this information is giving them hell because they want to suppress this information. They don't want us to know these things. We're not supposed to know these things. Just by us letting folks know the history of who these people are and where we are is revolutionary in itself. So what are they doing? The same old tactics they tried in 1910. Bring immigrants over. Bring immigrants over with a promise of a better life since they don't have no blood, sweat, and tears. They don't have a dog in this fight. So they're going to go with whoever's giving the free meal. We're not in a position to give a free meal. All right? So they're going to come and they're going to side with the Europeans. And in fact, Sister Keisha, I don't know if you saw the video. It's an old video, but it was an Egyptian brother who said when he came to this country, they tried to get him to call himself white. And he said for a little while he went through with it until he understood the history of black people and white people here in America. He said because in Egypt, you identify with your religion, then your race. So you're a Christian and you're a Muslim first, then you're black or white or whatever. And he talked about learning what was going on here in this country, what has happened to the black people here in this country. And he understood. So he no longer wanted to be white. And this is what they're doing with so many immigrants. You talk to many immigrants, talk to some of our continental African brothers and sisters. They'll tell you when they got here, the first thing immigration told them was stay away from black people, stay away from black Americans. We're lazy. We don't want to do anything. And they try to keep us divided. So now here they got the Afghanis coming and anybody else. And they got tangibles for them. And correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Afghanis enemies just a couple of years ago? Now they're friends.
Hello.
Like, I'm confused. And they get money. They get set aside early. Just come. Just come. We got to check for you. I mean, we've seen this play before. And we have to be strategic on how we're going to work around it since we know this is their plan. This is their game plan. That's why I have no desire to argue with our folks anymore. I don't care if you Muslim, Christian, if you East Coast, West Coast, Crip, Blood, up north, down south. We got to put that to the side. Whether you're foundational black or what's the other one or ADOS, I'm not separating us anymore. We got to stop that for real, because the only ones who's losing in the end is us. But I'm gonna step off my soapbox because I know we got more to cover.
Facts. I agree with you on that point. Um, I don't know what it is that it's going to take for our people to understand that unless we work as allies to attain a mutual goal, we're going to continue to fail. So we got to figure out how to do that. And speaking of that, I don't know if you heard about the commentary that Nicki Minaj was making, um, as it relates to, our ancestors. But it just bothers me, and people can put out all kind of memes with Dr. King and gold fronts and all kind of stupid stuff that has been posted, um just so disrespectful. And I feel that a lot of people who aren't um, of this vein, who don't have or understand the legacy of Black people here in this country, take for granted um, the fight of our ancestors. They take these things for granted. And that's one of the reasons why you see a lot of rift now. Um, we have to understand that Black people in this country have a right to plead their own cause. Just like Black people in any other nation have a right to plead their own cause. But we just have to learn how to work together to attain a goal. The goal is to get the foot off our neck of those who have held us captive and just about, if not single-handedly, destroyed a culture of a people, not just here but worldwide. Coming from different countries, everybody has their own tribal cultures. But when you take a deeper look, you see that a lot of it has been destroyed by a common enemy, and we have to understand how to work together to attain um, everything that we want. Now, I just want to move on, and I'm gonna touch on this real quick, and then we gonna move into Mr. Poitier. But I saw a video on Instagram, and it was an interview of Mr. Jim Jones, um, in reference to him learning how to French kiss or whatever, whatever. And then, I see Brother Tad holding his head already, but um, that is not a good look. This is seriously problematic, and I'm trying to be respectful on this program. I'm really trying to, because I have a lot of issues with one, the commentary, the continued questions from the interviewer, Angela Yee, or what have you. But this is a bad look, and a lot of people try to sweep it under a rug or push it off as, it's a joke. I don't find that to be a joke at all.
I don't think it was a joke at all either. I don't
You
even,
understand what I'm saying? Because he tried to play it off, at the end or towards the end of the interview. But this is a problem. This is a problem.
I want to, and I want to be respectful to the mother as a mother. Her being a mother, it's a Black woman. The world seen that she has substance abuse issues. We saw that, and that's on a national platform. What was life? What was life like prior to the money and the fame? When times were desperate, and I'm quite sure there had to be a deficit on the moral compass, for lack of better words. Who plays like that? Who plays like that? But again, this is a European psychology from the father of psychology from the Western world, Sigmund Freud, who believes that's all men's fantasies. Never been mine. God bless my mother. Ain't never been my fantasy. However, why would you even play like that? And I don't put it past her, to tell you the truth. I don't know the man's mother. I don't know the man personally at all. However, when we take these platforms, when we're in the public eye, there's a certain level of decency we should have. There's a certain level of respect we should have for our mothers. A certain level of respect we should have for ourselves. Now, I get it. You're a tough guy, gangster, super thug. I get it. We all been that. We all been there. Some of us just happen to grow out of it because we've been there so long and done so much. We get tired of it. We get tired of the funerals, get tired of running and ducking from the police. We just get tired of it. However, when you know you got young, impressionable minds out here that's looking at you, when you understand that drugs still plague our community and contribute to the degeneracy of our community, We have a responsibility. Because I hear a lot, and Sister Keisha, I'm getting passionate. Because I hear a lot of these rappers talk about, yo, stop the senseless killing, stop the senseless killing. We got to stop the violence. But at the same time, you put that music out there, promoting that, bringing that energy and that frequency and that vibration. All that is real. It may sound like some pseudo metaphysical crazy stuff, and it depends on who's talking about it. But when you know it to be true and you live it, you understand the power in the word. Every religious text, every spiritual text say in the beginning there was the word. And we got to understand the power of our words, how some things become self-fulfilling prophecies. So when we take these stages, I don't think it was just a joke. I think after the word slipped out, you can't retract it, so you try to play it off as a joke. But I think this points to a very serious issue that we've always took the stage against, and that's sexual abuse in our community, because that's child molestation. And I think after he said it, he realized, wow, I just admitted that my mom is touching me inappropriately. Now I don't want to use strong words like molestation, but and I could only go on what he said. I saw the video; those are his words. Nobody doctored it. And this is very problematic because this is who the powers that be give the millions of dollars to. They give it to the ignorant brothers. They don't give it to the intelligent ones. But we seen Jerry Heller talk about that in the interview when he said he's tired of the black medallion, big gold chain hip hop. What he meant to say is he's tired of that black empowerment. He's tired of these rappers talking about knowledge and self empowerment. He don't want to hear that. He don't want to hear fight the power. He don't want to hear that you're a god. That's what he don't want to hear. So he put his money behind NWA. He want to hear that you're a nigga with an attitude. He want to hear you talk about shooting each other and killing each other. It's a lot of money to be made off of black suffering. We see it in the music. We see it in the movies. We see it within the conscious community. Always with the sky is falling. The sky is falling. Instead of taking the road that Dr. King gave us. Instead of taking the road that W.B. Du Bois, Malcolm X, and Dr. Khaled, all of them gave us instruction. Yeah, work for your people, but also work on yourself as an individual. Be a better person. Represent the best of our people. Make that your goal. Be the best black person that you can be. But we want to be out here cooning and buffooning because the powers that be dangle that paper check. We've been talking about fiat currency for so long, and now everything is crypto. We've been talking about how fake money is. It's a tool. It's not the goal. It's a tool. You got to realize, if you had all the money in the world, what would your goal be? What would you do if you had all the money in the world? That's the goal. Build schools, build hospitals, build community centers, build decent housing so people don't have to plug up faulty heaters and have their buildings set ablaze and lose 17 people. All of these things are related. None of this is in a vacuum. All of this goes hand in hand. Dr. Francis Cress Wilson talked about the 9 areas of human activity to which they dominate. And we got to be cognizant of that. We have to stay mindful and vigilant. Because sure enough, as we talk about all of these things, and Sister Keisha, I don't know if you want to go into Sidney Poitier, but I watched something that Sister Keisha sent me, and he talked about the importance of having positive images of our people. And he was met with resistance from our people back in the days because everybody think we should subscribe to the criminal element that's been ascribed to us. However, he stood on his square and said, nah, I want my characters to have dignity. Just like Denzel, you know. But I digress. I don't want to jump too far ahead into the show.
That's what's up. And I want to go back to something Sister Farnessa said. She said, I wonder if that's why Jimmy never married Chrissy because of his deep issues with his mother.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
I wouldn't negate that because from the few clips that I seen when they had the reality show, that is a very strange relationship. It's too the mother was, well, his mom was too involved um in a personal relationship between him and Chrissy that I found disturbing. Um Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea, but you could be right about that. You could be right. Um, because it's often said, the way a man treats his mother, you should hold that into consideration. He was very acting, if you way, acting in a way if as if, you know, he was, the head of that relationship. So I don't know. It could be. I only saw a few clips of the show because I get ticked off after a while. People get on my nerve. So I gotta turn it off. But it's definitely a sad situation. And if that's the case, you definitely right about that, Sister Farnessa. She said, yes, she was. Okay, so I only seen a few episodes, but I guess I was right in my analysis. But as you said, and we'll move into Sidney Poitier. Here is a man who started his career um, at the age of 15, I believe, in acting. His parents um, came from Bahamas. They used to come into Miami to fish and to sell tomatoes, produce, if you will. And he would come, back and forth with them. Um, they wanted him to remain here because, I don't know if everybody knows this, but in his younger age, Sidney was in them streets in the Bahamas. He was in the streets for real. So, his parents didn't want him to, they saw something, and they was like, we got to get him up out of here. So pretty much, he remained here in the States and, you know, started his career here. Um, One of the things that I liked about Sidney Poitier was his ability to captivate an audience in just playing a singular character. Because now, when you see films, there are a lot of pyrotechnics and theatrics, and you got all kind of stuff to include in the film to hold your interest. But back then, they didn't have those mechanisms, so you really had to have your acting chops back then. So he joined an active troupe back in the days, and they didn't want him at first. And after a while, he was able to go back and join that acting group, which was also the place Ruby D and Ozzie Davis and Harry Belafonte and others came from during that time. I often say this: I am a lover of classic film, and you will be surprised the the ability of black actors just to maintain, their sanity back then. Because again, as Sydney said in the interview that you and I both watched, it was very important for him to maintain a level of respect, if you will, especially for black people and black men in particular. Um, he talked about um, his first major film that he starred in, which is No Way Out, which is one of my favorites, and we talked about it here on this program. In that film, he plays a physician who is in charge of caring for a racist inmate. And this white man called him all kind of names, everything you could think of in the book. Um, but in the movie, Sidney Poitier is charged with taking care of him, and he talked about behind the scenes his ability to keep his composure when filming that, because it was really hard for him to have to deal with the other actor. I can't remember his name right now, but he played in a lot of Batman movies back in the day. The white actor. But if you ever get a chance to check out No Way Out, my favorite scene is the race scene when they had the race riot. And black folks won. That's the only. Sydney wasn't in the riot though. Trust me on that. He wasn't in the riot. But there was a race riot in the film, and the black people won. So that's one of my favorites. It's called No Way Out, and I think it was in 1950. And you can catch it free on YouTube. It's available. But right after that, his next film was Cry Freedom, Cry the Beloved Freedom. Um, Very interesting film. Um, Now, when they filmed this, he filmed in South Africa, and he tells the story of how he had to register as an indentured servant to the director in order to act in this film. Now, I want y'all to hold that for a minute.
Right.
Imagine you going to work and you got to register with your employer as an indentured servant in order for you to work there. That's crazy to me, but I don't know. I couldn't have done it. But he said South Africa was the worst place he had ever been in his life. And he never wanted to go back there ever, ever, because of, the times and what they were facing. Um and I think after that he did the Defiant Ones with Tony Curtis, who is the father of Jamie Lee Curtis, who played in all of those, what are you, Halloween movies?
Right.
Right. So he played with her father in the Defiant Ones, and even that film, they were inmates who escaped prison, and Tony Curtis' character was just as racist. And a lot of black people felt that Sidney was too calm in demeanor in dealing with that, and he took too much that, and he shouldn't have. I mean, even Ozzie Davis said that, to him, you got to put your foot down with some things. But again, he didn't want to play a character that would put black people in a bad light. But to me, being meek does put black people, in particular black men of that time, in a bad light. That's just, my take on it. And then after that, I think he played in Lilies of the Field, where he was the first black man to kiss a white woman on screen, on film, in a major motion picture. Now that film, you have Sidney Poitier, who is, I think he was a teacher or a doctor. It
A,
escapes me right now.
a doctor.
A doctor. Okay. And here he finds solace in a relationship with a bummy white woman who was blind, and her parents was a drunk, her mother was a drunk, and pimping her out to a store owner to do some bead work or whatever. But the first white woman that he kisses gotta be a bum. But it's just crazy to me. All of this is crazy to me. But brother Ty, your thoughts on the career of Sidney Poitier?
Um, I understood what he was doing for those times, and it was just for that time, you know, because we know outside of the others of the theater, he wasn't that strong. He just wanted to project black people having a moral high ground, which I truly understand and appreciate. Because where we at right now with it in film is total degenerates. So I understand the value that he was providing at the time in terms of images of us, because the images were controlled by external groups. Let's just say white folks. White folks did control the image, even to the point that he said, when he was doing In the Heat of the Night, where the botanist slapped him, and he's had them write in the contract, no, I got to slap him back. Put that in the contract, and you're going to have to air that. Because he said if he took that slap and didn't do anything, that's a slap in all black people's face. And he couldn't do it. He had to show, you're going to hit me, I'm going to hit you back. So I thought that was a powerful position to take, because in those times, white people did think they could just put their hands on us and there was no repercussions. Though us in the black community knew that wasn't the truth, because we did have common everyday brothers and sisters. You can put your hands on us, we're going to put our hands right back on you. Don't care how white you are or who you think you are. You got dealt with. Every black person that left the South ain't come to New York looking for better opportunities. Some was on the run from the law, from handling their business. And we got to put that on the table too, because that's often omitted because they never want to put in the psyche of the people that Black people do stand up for themselves and we do fight back. In fact, it always takes me back to Frederick Douglass when he talked about the slave breaker, Mr. Covey. He tried to beat Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass pounded him out. Frederick Douglass thought for sure he was going to get hanged or killed or something because he hit Mr. Covey. But Mr. Covey's ego would not allow him to tell other white people that Frederick Douglass beat him up because that's a spit on his reputation now. So Frederick Douglass was grateful for that part, and that's how white America is. They'll never tell you about us fighting back, resistance, and being successful. They'll never tell you. So I thought that was powerful for Sidney Poitier to say, you're not going to slap me and not get dealt with. We're not going to do that one. He slapped me, I'm going to slap him right back, and you got to keep that on film. Now, in terms of outside of the film, I think it was Harry Belafonte who wrote. He told Sidney Poitier, yo, we got to go down south and support Dr. King. Sidney Poitier was like, I ain't going down there. He's like, y'all crazy to go. And Harry Belafonte was trying to tell him, like, no, the brother needs our support. He needs our help. Sidney Poitier is like, I'll send some dollars, but I ain't going down there. I ain't going down there with them crazy white folks. And, of course, Sidney Poitier backed out. Harry Belafonte went down there and stood by Dr. King's side. But, so that's my little tidbit. And not to take nothing from Sidney Poitier, because I get it. Everybody ain't built for that. And Dr. King, I always say he was super brave because I don't know if I'd have went down there without a pistol. You know what I'm saying? Like, where we going? Look, when they killed James Byrd in Jasper, Texas, Dr. Khalid went down there with them AK-47s. You know what I'm saying? He was like, I'm not going to Texas without them things. So depends on who you are and what your position is. Because I'm not going down there without no weapons. That's just me, though. But I see we got our brother BlakSmith in the house. Salute.
What's up, brother? How you feeling?
Hey, what's up, y'all? Where's brother Ashe? I can't have my trifecta without y'all.
Ashe is running late. Ashe is running late. Don't worry about it.
Peace,
But,
New York, peace to the world. I'm sorry, Keisha, go ahead.
That's what's up. Sister Farnessa said BlakSmith is in the
Yeah, I
building.
see that. Shout out to Sister Farnessa. Thank you, love. I appreciate you, for real.
Your thoughts on Sidney Poitier and his career?
Sidney Poitier. Like Tad was saying a minute ago, my favorite moment of knowing who Sidney Poitier was is two things to that. Was seeing him slap the mess out that white man that slapped him and then asked, Tibbs, excuse me, Archie Bunker, whatever his name was in the
heat of the night.
Yeah, who played the role of the sheriff or whatever he was. Smacking him. He said, and the white man asked him, yeah, he's a black man and he smacked me. What are you going to do about it? He gets up and he goes, I don't know. Because he police. So he can't arrest him. He defended himself. He could shoot him. You assaulted that man.
That's right.
And the second one was being a little kid and remembering that was the first movie I ever went to see in my life, Which Way Is Up.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, that's my, what I give him props for, regardless of how it went down for whatever reason I was in that theater that day. That's the first movie I seen in the theater that I remember. Yeah.
Right. I loved a piece of the action. Uptown Saturday Night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it took him a long time to make those films because he had taken such a long break. I think after To Serve With Love, he had taken a long break.
Yeah, late 60s into the early 70s. Yeah.
Right. Actually, the executive producer of that film, when he went to the Money Men to get the film done, he never told them exactly what To Serve With Love was all about. He just said, it was some family stuff or what have you. And, it wasn't until the very end when they knew money was up on the table and they either produced the film or not, he revealed exactly what it was. And Sidney said that, he faced a lot of backlash for that. And like you said, I didn't even know he produced Stir Crazy.
Right. I didn't either.
Right. He produced Stir Crazy.
I saw that.
Yeah, with Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder.
Yeah.
But he also had a film company, an independent production film company, with at one point with Barbara Streisand and Paul Newman. And it started the careers, the beginning, if you will, of a lot of people
Right.
during that time. But as brother Taz said, he really tried to maintain a certain look for black people in film at that time. And I have to go back to something that Sister Marie said. She said, I commend Sidney Poitier. The only thing I had a problem was that he was with white women. So does he gain assets because she was his wife? I think they were divorced later on in life. Actually, this white woman, I think that's the one who played in the film with him. A small hat, but can't remember her name right off the back, but he ended up marrying her, but they got divorced later in life. At
Can
least
I
I
say
believe
something
so.
to that, Keisha? Please,
Go
real
ahead.
quick.
Go ahead.
Back then, if you weren't straight white or if you weren't straight white, when I say straight white, I'm talking Scottish, European, not of Jewish descent. Back then, if you were gonna be big, you had to sell out. You had to marry a small hat or something like that. Think of everybody we could think of. Sammy Davis Jr. did it. Lena Horne did it. So many, most of them, most of the people that are iconic to this day right now had to do that in order to make it to that level where we could talk about them for more than 10 minutes and have a vast array of things to say about it. So put that in the
Interesting.
factor right there.
Very, very interesting. But again, Sister Farnessa, you are right about that. Maybe that cool demeanor was being done to appease and get white women, which is what he did in real life and left all of his wealth.
Yeah.
Again, I believe he was divorced later on in life. So if there is an estate, he has plenty of children. I think four daughters. I think
Uh-huh.
to leave that too. But we have a lot of, even in scholarship, knowing the history of our people here in this country and around the world, still end up with Caucasian mates. And some of our greatest scholars have ended up in the clutches of Caucasian mates. I too have a problem with that, but this is not argument for that tonight. So
Yes, ma'am.
maybe we'll come back again and I'll give you my analysis on why that actually happens.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say something real funny though.
Go ahead.
Not funny, but it's funny. I went to see Dr. Julius Garvey speak one day, and I asked him about that. How does he feel? Here this black brother. Asked him, how do you feel about people waving the red, black, and green flag that your father gave to us, right, as a symbol of black pride, and have people still date outside their race? What do you say to that? And he said, well, people are going to love who they love. Brother BlakSmith, I didn't know he had a white wife.
Yeah, I knew that. That's why I started laughing as soon as you said it, because I knew where you was going. I met him in Ghana.
Yo,
I met him in Ghana some years ago. So I didn't know his wife was white though, but I kind of like, like he get a pass because he's Garvey's son, but like I knew he was still middle of the road somewhere. Like, usually when I meet the realists, they usually thuggish and gangsters. Like they give you that feeling like I'll kill you. Yeah. I love you, brother. You know what I'm saying? But like they'll kill you, literally. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have that feeling to him.
Nah.
Yeah, it was a little light there. Yeah.
Ain't no passes being given on Thorough Black Talk.
Okay.
I knew the young lady was coming with it.
Ass, but
Yeah.
I understood where BlakSmith was coming from. I'll take ass.
But you know what it is? It's interesting. It's a really good topic, to segue into like back then and what's happening now. Because like you say, even right now we got a lot of people that are huge, black billionaires, to be exact, like Kanye West, that it seemed like all he could do is date white women. He had Amber Rose, she was white. He got whiter and whiter and whiter. Amber Rose was white, but she had a little black swag. She was studying us. Then he went to Kim Kardashian. She's an actual
Armenian,
Caucasian. Like she's a real Caucasian. Her family is like that region where the Caucasus Mountains is from. You know, Armenian to be exact. That's what her family is. So then he went to her. This is what he running around with now. I don't even know her name. She's an actress, but it's like they're getting clearer and clearer. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't know. He seemed to like that. It's crazy, you know. So we already know when he died. You know, I hope he got a prenup or something, because we know where that wealth is going. It ain't coming right to the black family. I'll tell you that. But you know, when it comes to like passes and all that, like what you said about you know, actors and things of that nature back then, that they had to do things like that. I mean, it's still like that to this day. Like they always put up, you know, kind of standards and roadblocks to block you into certain things. But at the end of the day, you always got free will. You got freedom of choice. You know, one of the people that I like to hail up all the time is Denzel Washington. That brother kept it silent. He turned down, I think he turned the role down because they wanted him to do a film where he had to kiss a white woman. He turned the role down. So
yeah, but check this out, though. There's one Denzel, one Wesley Snipes every so often, and they all tell you the game. You just got to learn how to read code. You know what I'm saying? They ain't going to be too many of those. Let's say Denzel never, like, you know, was a pedo or something like that, you know, to get to that level. It would be foolish for them to leave all that money on the table. He would make them anyway. So they give him a pass. Like, you could screw any woman you want. He's been known for that for years. But they always black. To my knowledge, I've never heard of him screwing a white woman. And he's also smart.
Got a wife. He got a wife. I mean, maybe
but he's always been cheating on his wife, and he's known for that with usually his co-stars. But let me just say this. That's the reason why they jerked Mike Tyson too. They just got a black woman to do it because he would not deal with white women. You've never seen a white woman on Mike Tyson's arms.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to do some research on that. I know in the movie,
I never have.
I mean, in the movie, he was definitely with in that comedy movie, he was with that chick, messing around, sleeping with her, and all that. I know it was a movie, but if you're not dating white women and they put the projection out like he is, like, you got to be comfortable with that. That's what I say. But,
okay.
I don't know. I'm doing my research on that one, but either way,
Vanessa put that up. She says, "I honest to God don't understand with all that we go through with white people, what's going on in black folks' brain to make them still get with them. I have no idea. I have no idea." She said she ain't giving no passes either, Ashe. She ain't giving no passes.
Because at the end of the day, you got the choice. You got the option to do what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Nobody can't force you to marry somebody.
Well, again, when you're talking about, especially the music industry, entertainment industry. Let me not say music, because that's belittling it. The entertainment industry got contracts that is signed in ink, and then the other ones in blood, bro. We don't know what's in them clauses. They got to do it if they've been told to do it. Otherwise, they'll be ruined or killed.
No, I know that. That's not my point. My point is, like, I get what you're saying about that. Like, I understand that, you know, Hollywood and they got all of their covenants and rituals and all of that they do. I'm not disagreeing with that, but I'm just saying at the end of the day, free will reigns over all of that. You know, if you say you're gonna marry black, it don't matter what they're gonna do, signing in blood, whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying? You ain't marrying a white woman. It's not happening. You know, and these people, Sidney Poitier, he didn't do it. I don't think, my opinion, I don't think he did it just to be big. Like, I don't know if that's your point, but if that's your point, I don't think he did it just to be big. I think he did it because he loved these devils. You know, and that's how a lot of people are. They love these devils, and they get into Hollywood, and they feel like they somebody, and they start feeling themselves, and then they start getting, you know, blinders on, like they don't remember who they are. You know,
I talked about that some years back with Bill Cosby. Remember, we was talking about, like, even when they get the money, they still think that that's the prize.
Mhm.
With all that money, they still think being with them is the prize. You know,
Facts.
all the greatness they may have done with their lives, it almost becomes a contradiction, so to speak. And I chalk it up to part of them not having that level of consciousness that some of them may profess to have. Because if you did, you'd understand the importance of marrying black,
Mhm.
finding love within your own people.
Yeah,
You know,
that's the way it should be. I agree.
yeah. So those are the contradictions that we seen with them at that time. Because with all that money, they were still holding the woman, and they were still holding white women in high regards,
Right.
which is a
Yeah.
contradiction.
Right.
You know, you
Yeah,
can't
and
talk greatness.
the thing that I would say too is, you know, right now, like, it's interesting. I know it's not a lot of people are gonna be able to see it from this lens that I'm about to say, but sometimes with certain people, just like for instance, what Keisha said, how many scholars and how many people that did powerful things for us, you know what I'm saying, ended up being race traders in that sense where they don't marry and procreate with their family. You know what I'm saying? So unfortunately, some of us, we have to learn how to compartmentalize these things. For instance, um, you know, so many, like we said, so many scholars that did so many great things for our people. Like, you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You got to be able to take the information or take whatever they brung and utilize that for ourselves. But we got some people that are so conscious or so black power, you know what I'm saying, that they just throw everything away, you know? So I'm saying that to say, like, yeah, Sidney Poitier, you know, he definitely wasn't perfect. You know, we definitely did some things that we don't agree with. But if you look at the role that he played, like, this man was the first black man to win the Oscar for Best Actor ever in history. You know what I'm saying? Like, the just the level of empowerment and the lessons that was in A Raisin in the Sun, and so many other movies that, you know, people like him that unfortunately do things that we don't agree with, but they still put forth something that's kind of fruitful. You know what I'm saying? We got to be able to compartmentalize that and take the good from that and, you know, utilize that for ourselves, because some people would just throw the whole thing away, you know?
Right.
And we got even people like, I'm looking at, like, even with like Kanye West, like, you know, like, of course we don't, you know, agree with the lifestyle that he living as far as like dealing with these devils and all of that. But at the end of the day too, it's like, damn, like, look at the image of some of the things that he's accomplished and some of the things that he's still doing. You know what I'm saying? In a way, it still gives us people, us black people, the opportunity to feel like, yo, like, if he did it, we did it. You know what I'm saying? But we just got to keep instilling in ourselves that we don't have to sell our souls to do that. You know, we don't have to bend over or, you know, do whatever they say you got to do or else you can't get it. I don't subscribe to that. I think that what BlakSmith is saying is something that they project on our people, but they don't really have power in it. And this could be a big debate because it's like, what is Ashe's definition of power? Yeah, they have power when they have material things or when they create Hollywood itself and create the whole culture of Hollywood and things of that nature. I guess you could call that power, but no power is bigger than willpower. You know what I'm saying? So no matter what culture they create, what obstacles they put ahead of you and say, oh, we can make your life easier if you marry this person or you sell out and only deal with these people or never go back to the hood and help these people. Like, at the end of the day, you the one with the power. And if you cultivated so much momentum and so much of a following with people, you could quit Hollywood one day and tomorrow have Black Hollywood the next day. You know what I'm saying? Because you still got the power. That's where the true power lies. But a lot of us, we get confused with what power really is because we see material things. So we value material things and we see things as power. So, oh, if he don't do this, if he don't marry this white woman, then he ain't gonna make it big in Hollywood. Yeah, you right about that, but damn Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? We can make our own God. I mean, we got Nollywood in Nigeria, we got in Ghana, it's so many different ways for us to like take the real power that we have. Because right now, right, a big hot topic, I'm gonna pass the mic with this, but I was reading about this like an hour ago. I think Complex Magazine shared it, or somebody big shared it. and it was an article, and they talking about TikTok, right? They talking about how TikTok just released the 2021 top influencers for that year, the ones that made the actual most money by using their platform, being an influencer on TikTok.
Right.
None of them are white people. None of them are black people. Not a single one is black. But all of the videos that they're making on TikTok either has black music or black dance or hip hop clothing or black culture or something like that. Like we know this story time and time again. We keep creating the culture and we never profit off of it. We never profit off of the things that we create. These they always sneak in and try to figure it out how they could monetize it and not give us any credit. You know what I'm saying? And it's just crazy. I'm reading this today like, damn, like, man, this is the same song, the same cycle going over and over. Like, when are we really going to realize we got power and we really need to flip this over? You know, so not to throw, I mean, you know, it is what it is. We ain't trying to like throw too much dirt on Sidney Poitier right now. I mean, he did it to himself. But at the end of the day, me personally, I still am going to go watch Raisin in the Sun. You got some people that they ain't going to go watch the movie no more. You know what I'm saying? Nah, that movie, that movie was powerful. I shared a scene from that movie on I think on Facebook or something, and he had jumped on a table and the acting, and they had the African drums, and I know they was trying to poke fun at our brothers and sisters a little bit, but just the imagery in it, it's just so real. Like the writer of, you got to give kudos to the writer of it and all of that too, because like
Lorraine Hansberry.
Exactly, yeah, like because that started as a play, and then it became, you know, a movie, and that's what we got to start looking into that as well too. Like, you know, not enough of us. I've been to Broadway a few times. Not enough of our faces are in there when I go to the theater. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, this man like spearheaded and cleared and paved the way for a lot of people. You know, a lot of all black actors. Like, you know, so I definitely take my hat off to him for that part. You know, but like I said, it's up to us, you know, to keep instilling in our people. Like, look, you could do all of that, but you don't have to sell out. Because if we don't, they're gonna keep doing it. I mean, look at hip hop in itself right now. Most of probably more than half of the people that's in hip hop and R&B right now are in it, but not even to make hip hop and R&B. They in it to make money. They in it for the business. So they coming in and saying, if I make a song about shooting people, or if I make a song where I'm twerking and I make a song about being a dot or a bad B-I-T-C-H, they gonna buy it because that's what the industry is buying right now. So if I make that, I'm gonna get the bag, I'm gonna get the check, I can move my family out. You know what I'm saying? Get out the hood, like make a better life for myself. So people was thinking about that and like, yo, I'm gonna just sell it. I'm gonna just sell my soul for a second, do what I gotta do. Or what they used to call back in the day, shuck and jive, you know, and get to the bag. And then we compromise on all of our morals and principles. So we got to really think about that and like really instill in the youth and tell them like, yo, you could do these things without taking that route, you know, without selling your soul. I mean, and we got the people that we do see that do it, that's not selling their soul, we got to uphold them. You know what I'm saying? We got to uphold them. Denzel Washington is definitely one of my favorite actors. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about all the stepping out and all of that. If he did that, I mean, that's, you know, but hey, he's not a perfect man, but at least it's black women. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least it's black women. So I'm going to uphold Denzel for that. But I ain't never hear that story, though. But, yeah,
so again, you know, and it's something I want y'all to check out in your own time. There was an article that was written on September 10th, 1967 in the New York Times in reference to Sidney Poitier. The brother who wrote the article, I believe his name was Clifford Mason. Clifford Mason did op-ed pieces for the New York Times. I believe he was also a professor at Medgar Evers College. But he went in on Sidney Poitier, you know, shucking and jiving and all of that. He went in on him. And so, you know, Sidney Poitier, as far as I remember or know, he had 3 books, 3 autobiographies that he wrote. In this one autobiography, The Measure of a Man, in chapter 6, he addresses the New York Times article Why? And this is the title of the article. Why do white folks love Sidney Poitier so? So when you check out that article, and if you have Audible or what have you, I like listening to his audiobooks because it's in his own voice. But you can listen to this book, The Measure of a Man, and just go to chapter 6 after you read that article. It's his rebuttal to that. And believe it or not, he agreed with some of the things that Clifford Mason wrote about him and said that he could change those things within himself. But again, I don't want to give it all away. Y'all read that, at your own time. Check that out.
That's very
But
interesting.
quickly, I want to move over to go ahead, brother Ashe.
No, you always be dropping the jewels, man. Like, damn, yo, like that's fire. I want to read that right there because that's introspective. And the fact that, if he did admit to that, I think that might be one of the cases I ever heard of a coon saying I'm a coon and like admitting that I can be better. You know what I'm saying? Like,
He said he could be better as a man. Because he was talking about, he mentioned it in this chapter about Stokely Carmichael, H. Rap Brown, and he really wasn't about that life.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to give it all away. You got listen to it on your own.
That's precisely my point before we move on about like some people in life. Like, unfortunately, everybody is not warrior class, and a lot of us that's warriors always try to put that on other people. We know they should be because of the time we living in, but some people just not cut from that cloth, so you gotta utilize them for what they talent and what their gift is. They not gonna be on the table with us. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, if I know I need an actor that's gonna project a message to my people so we can, utilize that as a tool, then we gotta do what we gotta do, and there's a lot of people in positions right now that have power, that have ability. Like, for instance, me, like, I love Jay-Z, I'm from the style, like, I love it, but I got a lot of things about him that I don't like too, and I poke fun at it. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, like, son is married to a black wife, a black family, always talking black, and he a billionaire, you know what I'm saying? So, like, yo, he has power, like, and people change. People improve, people upgrade. That's another conversation we should dedicate a show about that, like, talking about, how the audience feels and how we feel about people coming back home. You know what I'm saying? In the case of like when they out here swirling and twirling and all of that, and then they say I found Jesus or whatever they found something, and now they want to come back home, and now they want to deal with only black people. We got to talk about that, because I know some people. I heard some sisters. They said, nah, if it's a brother that touched that pink meat, I don't want him. Throw him away. Throw the whole man away. That's what they say, and then you got some people like, yo, because I've met, like, I know through Queen of Fools program, she has transitioned some people that were a part of that rainbow community. And they came into consciousness and knowledge of self, and Queen of Fool turned them around and they became straight and comedic and all of that. I see it with my own eyes.
Wow.
Some people will probably be like, yo, like, that ain't true. Nah, you can't. They still on the down low. Hey, how do you really know? You know what I'm saying? If you could be a drug addict and an alcoholic and all of that and get your life back, you know what I'm saying? Doing all kind of, because you're in a different state of consciousness, like, I don't know. So that's a hot topic. That'd be a good conversation for us. But that'd be a convo. We got to bring the callers in. I miss talking to the people. We got to start bringing the people back in so they can put their input in on what the topics are and all of that. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting convo. What you want to move next to though?
Mtume, who is a legend in his own right. James Mtume. His real name was James Foreman. He was a jazz percussionist, a songwriter, producer. He had his own band, Mtume. His father is from, great stock himself, the legendary Jimmy Heath. Mtume came into political commentary later on in his life, but was at the forefront of a lot of the music that we listened to as children or that our parents listened to. He has written songs and music for Mary J. Blige, Casey and JoJo, D'Angelo. I could go on and on. That he has written for. Um, but his most memorable moment, he said, in his career was playing for the great Miles Davis. Um, and shout out to Dr. Filet on the check-in. He is definitely from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Later moving to New Jersey, and then to New York for a while because, a great legend told him in order to make it, you got to go through New York, as we often tell you here on this program. If you didn't come through here, I don't know where you cut your teeth at. It's just a fact.
How about Milwaukee?
Now see, I'm gonna have to fix Mr. Farnessa on you because family, you want to start trouble.
Wait, shout out to my brother University Ave. He from Milwaukee United Front.
Oh yes.
True. Shout out to Vern and Shirley. They from Milwaukee.
Don't be sleeping on Milwaukee now. Come on now.
I'm not sleeping nowhere. I'm just trying to get with the flow here. But of course, yes, he is from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Your thoughts on Brother Mtume, his music, his life, his career in political commentary, Brother Tad?
Well, I think first of all, shout out to Brother James Mtume, peace be upon him. He gave us the classic song Juicy Fruit.
That we would have had. It was all a dream.
Exactly. If you don't know now, you know. But not only that, what I recently found out prior to his transition is that he was the inspiration to one of my favorite songs by Set the Sonic, Talking All That Jazz. Which is one of my favorite Set the Sonic songs outside of Ghost Stetzer. Because he had a problem with new hip hop in the beginning, talking about it's not real musicianship. And that spawned them to create their song Talking All That Jazz. But then him and Daddy-O was able to sit down and have a dialogue and really bridge the gap, which I think is really big because sometimes when we don't, and I think I often say this, when we don't sit with people who are not in agreement with us, we don't get a chance to learn and grow. So by him being a big man saying, well, you know what, let me sit with these young brothers and see where they're coming from. And he was like, oh, okay, I get it now. It's not so much of y'all stealing music y'all didn't write, but y'all paying homage to those who came before you. All right, I can respect that. And that's who he was. Outside of his political consciousness, and all his contributions to the New York scene, with him being on Open Line, and I believe he was on This Week in Review back in the days, late 90s, early 2000s. And I believe we just also lost Judge Bob Pickett. I believe it. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So if you're outside of New York, you don't understand how dynamic these brothers were to speak of the issues that went on in the city and nationally, but gave an intellectual voice to it. And I know for one, I'm gonna miss his voice on the radio, and because what he's done is what many of us should aspire to do, do great things with our life, be creative, but also be socially conscious and aware and speak out against injustices, just like what us four here do, But this is a charge to the audience, go out there and just be great so that when you transition, you're remembered for your greatness. None of us are perfect. All of us are flawed. However, that shouldn't outweigh the good that we do and contribute to the world. And our brother James Mtume has done that just by taking on the African name of Mtume. That's a Swahili name. I forget what it means. I knew what it meant some time ago. However, since the transition, I haven't done much research. I'm only speaking for what I remember of him while he was here. So peace be upon that brother.
Yeah, I believe it means the leader, I think.
Okay.
Mtume. But I think the other cast member from the Open Line who transitioned was Bob Slade.
Oh, Bob
Slade. Wow.
Right.
Bob Slade.
He was the host. He was the
Right.
host DJ. Yeah, actually.
Right.
Yeah, my bad. Right. Bob Slade.
Wow.
My bad.
That's a big one.
Right. And then later on, as you said,
but not Bob Pickett. Right. There was a Judge Pickett also.
Yeah, Judge Pickett, Bob Slade, and
Right.
Mtume. And as you said, he did start out with I think it was the Cutman doing the year in review.
Yep.
And then it went to the weekend review.
Yep.
And then to open line. Calling into the open line when it first started, I had my bouts with Mtume and
Wow.
Fatim Muhammad, for real.
Okay.
So um, y-
Share with us. What was that about?
Yeah, exactly.
um,
Where you stopping?
well, like it always is about. If you tell some truths that people don't want to hear heard on certain airwaves, you know, they either cut you off or try to negate what it is that you're saying. But he never said I was a liar. He just didn't want to deal with it at those particular times. Um, so we had commentary back and forth in the beginning, but that intellectual sparring is so often needed. He's the one who introduced me to OpenSecrets.org to find out who's funding who as far as political candidates and incumbents are. Um, Dr. Fillet said Mtume means apostle. Um,
No, that
so we're
means
gonna roll
messenger.
with that. We're
Well,
gonna
that's
roll
the
with
same
that.
thing. Messenger.
But
Well, I
again,
can't.
yes. So in his early life, he was a member of the US organization founded by Malala Karinga.
That's right.
Um, and in fact, I think his first album was called A Kabbalah. I believe it was a Kabbalah. I believe that was the first album that he did. But kudos to brother Mtume. He had a great career and would give political commentary on various subjects on the open line, so much so that him and, as Brother Tab mentioned, Judge Bob Pickett used to go at it. Those two used to go at it, because Bob Pickett used to try to go the safe road sometimes.
Now hold up. Is it Pickett or is it Slade? Because I know this is
Well,
Pickett.
Bob Slade was the host and
Right.
Pickett was the judge.
Right.
So him and Pickett would go at it. And Bob Slade used to try to, to be the man in the middle, to try to keep them
Yes.
contained,
Yes.
him and
They
Fatim.
go back and forth.
Right, right,
I used to listen to Sunday mornings and Sunday evenings.
right,
Sunday
right,
morning weekend review. No, Sunday night was the weekend review. The morning was open line.
right. With the cut man. The
Another-
cut man. I used to love the cut man though. That was my favorite.
They had another show though too. With the music. Which one was? What was the name of that one?
That I'm not sure.
Because that's when I first found out that Bobby Caldwell was white. Back, yeah, yeah,
Bob Skaggs and the rest of them, right?
yeah. Because we were talking about they were explaining, and I believe it was Brother James and Toomey on the show too. They were explaining that in order to get Bobby Caldwell's record to sell, they couldn't put his image on the album, on the record single, because black people wouldn't pick it up. But since they put like some kind of cartoonish on it, black people picked it up. And for those who don't know who Bobby Caldwell is, he sang the song "What You Won't Do for Love." It's one of the classic songs in our culture.
And Georgie Porgy Pudding Pie too, right?
What Georgie Porgy?
Yeah, that's Toto. I'm sorry. Wrong group.
Yeah, nah, not right. Because Eric Benet did that one over. But no, I think only crossover to our side that he has is "What You Won't Do for Love." The rest of it is Milk Toast White. The rest of Bobby Caldwell music is Milk Toast White. That's why we only know that song from him.
Okay.
Facts. But again, me and him too may would go at it, especially as it relate to the legal premise of black people here in this country, in particular New York. So I used to call in and give him the business every chance I got. Especially when he started, championing Al Sharpton. I really would call in and give him the business until finally, you know, they just stopped letting my calls come through. And then, in fact,
Like, that's
we went when Facebook first got big. We would go back and forth on that platform as well. So Oh, forget it, forget it. But again, you know, again to his music career, um, in the business, and another great one who has transitioned. I want to move on to Ghislane Maxwell because we keep saying we're going to talk about her, and we didn't get a chance to do so. And a lot of people have been hearing her name in the news as it relates to Harvey. I mean, excuse me. Yeah, Harvey Weinstein. Not Harvey Weinstein.
Epstein.
Jeff Epstein. Excuse me. Epstein, Weinstein, all the Steens. But
Frankenstein, all them things.
we want to get into her and her background. Now, it's been said, she was a confidant of Mr. Epstein. In fact, some of the accusers in the trial said that she was pretty much a recruiter um, for Epstein and his friends. And then you had members of her family who came out and said that she met Mr. Epstein later on in life, and it was after her father went broke and she latched herself onto him. I don't know if everybody knows her family. Mr. Robert Maxwell, I think he owned the Daily News at one time. He was a multi-billionaire who got caught up, actually was convicted of stealing people's pensions later on in life. That's why they said supposedly he killed himself jumping off that boat. Yeah. Some people say he was murdered or what have you, but he coming from Yugoslavia, Hasidic community, or as Ashe said, Hasidic community of Yugoslavia, made his fortune in the UK. In fact, he latched himself onto some of the people in the military, British military, so that he can study their accents and pose himself as being a British elite. And he faked it until he made it. Brother BlakSmith, your thoughts on Ghislane Maxwell and her family background?
Well, you don't get. I am so pleased that you gave enough of her background so that you can understand who, or kind of get to understand who Ghislane might be. Because when you get to that level, I think of a movie like Operation Swordfish. Remember that movie? Okay. It was said that Ghislane might be actually a dude called Glenn, like somewhat like Michelle and Michael Obama. So we don't know what part she played, or he, for that matter, in the world of espionage and all that other stuff and intrigue that happens in Europe in particular, because they all from that side of the world, regardless of whether they're Yugoslavian, born in the UK, what have you. Ghislane had a organization called Terramar, where they were sovereign to the UN, and she also had a company that was manning what's the name of those vessels that go underwater? Submarines under the ocean, and using that as a way to get these pedophile kids, victims, these abused victims, to all these various places in the world without being seen.
Wow.
The mainstream media, when they report about Ghislane Maxwell, is making it like she met Epstein along the way and he was hitting her off with dough and so on and so forth. I believe when her father went broke, I believe that was a media ploy to give them sympathy so that they don't seem so rich. When they actually, Maxwell was probably top 2 or 3 spy in the Mossad at that time. So he was a double agent as well. So whether he got killed or not. I'm gonna go back to the comparison I made with Operation Swordfish. You don't know what the hell's happening because you see the body there, then they come in you 15 minutes later, and then 2 days later you see another body there, and they all look the same, but this person keeps getting spotted in other places all over the world. How is this happening? So we don't know, because that's a whole nother world that we don't have no clue about. But everybody knows about it now and how it works, and you have to be able to understand that he can go there. I'm done.
Well, it's true. You know, she had a lot of entanglings, if you will, with powerful people all her life. In fact, there was a documentary done on her and her family on Notorious. I think that's on ABC Network, I think.
Right.
You can probably find the replay in whatever streaming services that you may have. But she was introduced to the most powerful people on the planet at an early age. Again, her
Yes.
father had interminglings with most of these people, from the royal family to, I don't know, Bloomberg, everybody. I mean, everybody had dealings with Ghislane Maxwell. There were parties she was summoned to as a child. Her father said that in his own words, that she could command an audience or take over in a party from a child. And so he always wanted her around. In fact, he would play these little head games with her to make her vie for his attention, if you will, when she was a kid.
Mhm.
So she knew how to hone people in and grab their attention and pretty much put people in places with other people to get things done. There are party pictures that I have with her with Paris Hilton when Paris Hilton was a young kid. Um, Pictures with her and Bloomberg. Pictures with her and Naomi Campbell.
Can I say
Pictures
something
with
real
her
quick?
with the Clintons.
Keisha,
Go
real
ahead.
quick. Real quick. In the maybe starting in the late 80s, early 90s, she was known also as a socialite. So like how Paris Hilton and Nick, her sister, and the other one that played in the girl, where they was like moving to these small towns and being Hicks for like a weekend. Paris Hilton and the other girl, Nicole Richie. You know what I'm saying? Like that. They were known like that, like in the late 90s, early 2000s. So it just continues on and on and on. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Facts. And then I looked at quite a few images of her in her younger years.
Mm-hmm.
And in these images, you often find the Clintons. She was at Chelsea Clinton's wedding. You see her um, with Kevin Spacey a lot, and you know the scandal involving him
Oh, forget
with
about
a
it.
young boy as well. A lot of images with Kevin Spacey going way back. Rupert Murdoch as well. There are images with Ghislane Maxwell with what's his face, the former president Donald Trump. Now there was a image that was going around online where it was shown that she was at a party with him and Epstein. And that's
Mm-hmm.
pretty much ran a gamut through mainstream media. But when you check, she's with Trump on several occasions at many different parties. I'll try to pull it up. Going back when Elon Musk was younger. I mean, she was intertwined with all of these people, the Queen of England herself. Pictures with foreign dignitaries from around the world, princes and the like. She was always in the middle of the shenanigans, if you will. But it seems that, all of a sudden, these people don't know who this woman is, can't place her anywhere other than a couple of interactions when her father was the owner of the Daily News. But we know that to be not to be true because internet is forever. And so when images are posted and it's all over the place, it's there. So you can't explain away these things. So they're trying to, not have any dialogue about her further dealings with some of the most powerful people on the planet.
Do
And
you
they're
remember?
trying to. Go
Do you
ahead,
remember
brother.
right before Maxwell died? There was a scandal going on in England where, like, it was made known that the newspapers were spying on these people. You remember that? That's her father's organization. You know what I'm saying? So these people, it's been anybody who knew anything about her back then. I didn't, and I'm not trying to say, I'm not knew that she was involved with that level of espionage and high intrigue and so on. It's been known. So, but because the internet wasn't in existence at that time, you didn't have those chosen ones. Like, we all was born chosen, I believe. You know what I'm saying? But then you go to sleep because you're not appreciated for being chosen. And then before you know it, you find yourself, and then you get into the information, and then you remember tidbits of the information enough to put it together till right now and say, wow, I remember this, I remember that. And then you can piece it together somewhat. Right.
Yeah, this is an image of her with Jeffrey Epstein and Harvey Weinstein at a costume party.
There you go.
And if you like, again, in
They
your
probably
own
killed
time,
2 babies that day.
say that again.
They probably killed 2 babies and ate them that day.
I wouldn't be surprised.
That's
I
how
wouldn't be
real it
surprised.
is. I mean, we
I wouldn't be
make
surprised.
yeah, it's real.
Yeah.
Too much shenanigans. Go ahead, brother Tad.
I gotta get ready to jet because I got a conference call for something else going on. And I just want to thank everybody who tuned in tonight. Truly appreciate y'all. Isha, brother Ashe, brother BlakSmith. I appreciate y'all in life.
Yeah, for sure.
And everybody tuned in. Y'all stay up, y'all stay blessed, y'all stay true. And I will see y'all next Thursday.
All right. That's what's up, brother. Peace, man.
There we go. Brother Tad had to go, taking care of some other things. But, here she is with Rupert Murdoch. We all know the sex scandals that took place at Fox News.
Oh, man.
So
CNN.
again.
Now CNN.
They making a gamut. It's going around. It's going around. But it's a lot to keep this woman silenced. And again, she says she wouldn't tell. I don't know, what the future may hold, but she had a lot of interminglings with a lot of people. And I find everybody to be suspect. Everybody. Not just Jeffrey Epstein, or her, but everybody. All of these people that are now turning their heads and saying they didn't know nothing and when.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just want our people to be aware when they say Ghislane Maxwell or Ghislane Maxwell, however way you want to pronounce it, make sure you do your due diligence and do your research. Don't let these people come before you and try to make it seem as if, this was a one-time dealing or just with this one man, Mr. Jeffrey Epstein. But again, she has interminglings with some of the world's wealthiest and most important dignitaries from all over. And it goes back to her childhood with her father. And definitely do your research on his on his early years coming up and getting his billions, where he got it from, who did he con to get it, how did he keep it, how did he purchase the Daily News. So that's a lot of information that you guys can seek on your own. Brother Ashe, any comments? And if not, we'll move right on.
I can't hear him. I think he's muted.
I was on mute. I'll say briefly, this is devils doing what devils do, man. The devil do what the devil do, So I mean, we can't be surprised, It's just what's more surprising is the fact that somebody of so, has so much power is actually being held accountable. That is the question. Because my question is now, if they putting her on blast and him on blast now, and they got so much power, so much dirt on everybody else, it's probably meaning behind that. It's probably value behind that. Like, why are they trying to throw them away and throw them in the dirt? Because they trying to prevent something else from being uncovered. Because these devils ain't righteous. They ain't giving no justice here. We know that. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they give a damn about the victims. Most of these victims was victimized 10, 20 years ago. And they been knew this. You know? So if they really cared, they would have stood for justice 10, 20 years ago. So I think they just doing this to cover something else up. Somebody else that's probably even more powerful right now and got more money or more power and stature, you know, or has the ability to do something for some other people that's powerful. So they trying to clean their act up. So they putting them on blast and say, look, you gotta go. I was doing dirt for so long. We was covering it up, giving y'all passes, but now y'all messing it up for everybody else. Bill Clinton, Donald Trump. They said, I read one of the things they said, Ghislane, whatever her name is, they said she was basically catering and cultivating little girls, you know, changing their whole mindset and grooming them to be abused by these people, by these grown ass men. One of the girls was 14 years old when she got introduced to Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? So this is the thing. This is what they do. This is like a white mammy right here. Like, she doing the work for these devil men. And he got her, look at, you see the picture, he got her right under the wing. Like, yeah, keep doing what I tell you to do, you little devil. You know what I'm saying? And grooming them, you know, and she getting cut checks on the side right there. That's how it is, you know. He don't love her. He know he got her under the wing in a position that he wanted to be in. You know what I'm saying? So that's just what these devils do. But like I said, I'm just very shocked that somebody with so much power, you know, right now is being put on blast after so long. You know what I'm saying? It's very strange. So then you just got to think about who else was it? You know what I'm saying? Who else is in very powerful positions right now that got a lot to lose, that was seen on that goddamn plane or on the island, even worse, or even just standing next to her? And I feel like at this point, anybody standing next to her in these pictures, you know what I'm saying? That's striking my curiosity right there, because they know who she is. They know how they get down. Everybody in the industry, it's just like Hollywood. Even the actors and the actresses, not even on this grand level, but they all know when the directors are sitting them on the casting couch and saying, look, you want this role, you got to give it up. Or everybody in Hollywood know that. You know what I'm saying? That's just Hollywood. So now we're talking about presidents and, you know what I'm saying, like big ass people with big stature and yo, they all know. Everybody knows that it's just a matter of time. They just wait. But I just read also too today, they said that they actually are requesting a retrial because one of the jurors in the case, they said that he just recently was interviewed and he gave an interview talking about his personal testimony of sexual abuse. So now he's having a epiphany about his life, and now he's coming out and saying he was abused. Now they're saying that they got to go back and have a retrial because the juror, you know what I'm saying, he could have been influenced by his personal experience of abuse in their decision. But what I'm thinking about now too is, like I said just now, who else out there is afraid and they throwing these two away because they don't want these other people to come out? Because right now, don't think that's justice. Don't think nothing happening is righteous. These devils know exactly how to play this game. So they said, oh, okay, whatever. If you get caught, if they say you guilty, that's fine. We got a plan for that. It's like Apple. We got a phone for that. We got an app for that. They say you guilty. Oh, we got an app for that. They put that new app, that upgraded devil app on. They said we're gonna get somebody in a juror. We're gonna either pay them. Because what stupid person, everybody that goes to court, especially in a high profile trial, know that you can't talk about or say certain things before or after the case for a period. It's definitely not during it. You know what I'm saying? So you mean to tell me right after this person that's a juror in this high profile case, right after, you know what I'm saying, they gonna come out on their own personal thing and give an interview about their personal testimony of abuse? That sounds like foul play to me. Like somebody either threatened or put some money in their pocket and cut a check and said, look, you do this, So now we could find a loophole because they know how to play this game. And now we're going to request a retrial. And I wouldn't be surprised if she win it this time. So this is what these devils do, man. So it's not surprising to me, you know. It's interesting for us to keep our eye to what's going on and all of that. But at the end of the day, I mean, I'm just glad it's devils doing what devils do because I'm tired of seeing our people dealing with it. We mimicking. It's like the conversation we were talking about earlier. We mimicking, we want to be just like that. Sidney Poitier, all these people, they coming in. That up, you gotta have a what's a black last name? Gotta have a Jefferson Island or
Jenkins.
Jenkins Island. We gonna have a Jenkins Island next. That's what's happening. You know what I'm saying? So let's just be grateful this is them this time and not us, for real.
For real. But the thing is, too, I find it hard to believe that even with Jeffrey Epstein and Harvey Weinstein, that no black girls or black women were ever touched.
Well, okay. Well, let me just say this. Let me go a little further than where we at right now. Basically, all the fluff we hear surrounding Ghislane Maxwell, Epstein, and all those people is fluff compared to the killing floors where they were actually eating babies and selling organs and transporting these kids to other places for them to become slaves there. This is hiding all of that. So we could talk about all that other stuff, but what about that? That hasn't even, people still ain't ready to deal with that. That's when you're going to see some real, hind parts showing and people like, no, it can't be true. Look at the stuff we talking about right now that we said that not us, me, you, and Ashe, but the people, generally speaking, was saying, nah, that can't be true. And how typically we talk about stuff that 5 years ago couldn't have been true, and we 2 years and more into it now. You see where I'm coming from? If I told you 3 years ago today that there's going to be a pandemic and people going to be dying from this Jamba Juice or this snake bite or whatever y'all want to call it today, y'all be like, nah, that ain't going to happen. I would say that for myself, so I'm not going to put it on y'all to say y'all wouldn't believe it. And we already almost 3 years into that game. So and they warned us with the movies that they show, Contagion, Outbreak, and we can name them on and on and on and on. Just like they have
Speaking
series
about movies, not to cut your wisdom, we'll let you get back to your point.
No, go ahead.
Speaking about the movies, and the trafficking of black girls and black women, the stealing of black children, there is a series. I'm not sure which network that it comes on, so please forgive me for that. But you can definitely watch the reruns. It's a soap opera. It's a black soap opera. And it's called Saints and Sinners.
I heard of it.
In this series, you have an elite black family who does a whole bunch of treacherous things to black people, but black women and black girls in particular. And it deals with the harvesting of organs. That was the last season of it. But it was a rich and powerful black family from the church who was helping them harvest and steal organs.
Wow.
So again, when they come out, as you said, in these television shows and movies, it's not far long when you begin to hear murmurs of certain things taking place. So again, with Black Hollywood, you can't tell me that there is no casting couch for black folks. You just cannot tell me that. But again, in this country, white men are not convicted of raping black women and black girls.
Yeah.
And definitely not black boys. That just ain't happening. And I'll challenge anybody to go find me the case.
We got Jeff Sandusky. That's the only one we can prove for a fact.
Yes, but and particularly because there were other children involved in that Sandusky thingy too,
Okay.
and particularly black children. It
Okay.
just never happened.
I
So
got you.
at least I want to see it.
Mhm.
But we have to look at that. I wonder, as we talked about our greats in the opening with Sidney Poitier, Mtume, or whomever, what truly um, our talented folks in entertainment have to endure. That's never really talked about on a grand scale as it is with this case with Ghislane and Epstein and now Harvey Weinstein, even Les Moonves from CBS, who is the husband of what's her name? The Asian woman who was in on NBC for a while, or CBS for a while, who is one of the executive producers of the reality show.
Tidy Tom?
No, it's not Kaidi Tong. Sheesh. But anyway, Les Moonves is her husband. Now, these rape allegations came out against him, or sexual harassment allegations came out against him. You didn't hear anything from her, the Asian community, or anybody else. Who was he messing with at CBS? You understand what I'm saying? It was pushed under the rug, and then they pushed the R. Kelly issue to the forefront. Meanwhile, Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Les Moonves, Kevin Spacey, all of them are pushed to the background.
Mm-hmm.
I find it hard to believe that Kevin Spacey ain't tried nothing with no black boys. I just find it hard to believe. Because if you're a deviant, according to the professionals, if you're a deviant, that plays no factor. The deviancy is in the act. So if you're around young black boys, young black children, young black women, or whatever, you mean to tell me you ain't got none of them urges all of a sudden? A molester is a molester. A rapist is a rapist.
Well, in this case, Keisha, you have to understand it's in the game. It's not like they going to ice cream shops and picking them up there and say, hey, you want some more candy on that ice cream? I got it at the crib. It's not like that. What usually they're doing is raping these young Hollywood kids like Macaulay Culkin and the other guy that was doing this big about 5-6 years ago, Corey Feldman, and his Corey Haim supposedly committed suicide because he couldn't, stand the fact that supposedly Charlie Sheen was banging him, like abusing banging him when he was a kid. You know what I'm saying? 8, 9, 10 years old. Remember, in order to even for the kids to get in the movies like Bad News Bears and kid movies, Stand By Me and all those kind of movies, they got to be initiated too. Michael Jackson, it was said, was initiated before they went on the Ed Sullivan show. They had 5 big white men rape all 5 of them and tell them, okay, go out there and perform now.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, so this is crazy.
Sister Farnessa got it for me. Julie Chen.
Okay.
Julie Chen Moonves. And I think she was the executive producer of Big Brother. That reality show, Big Brother.
Uh-huh.
But yes, her husband too accused of these allegations, and nobody talks about Black Hollywood and what they're enduring or have endured from on that level, I should say. You don't see the CNNs, the NBCs, and Fox and everybody else talking about what's happening to Black folks in entertainment. Yes, we hear in the blogger sphere, the podcast sphere, YouTube sphere, whatever. Many have spoken about the atrocities that happen to Blacks in entertainment.
Right.
So, that is deeply disturbing when I hear Black people make commentary about what's happening with this particular case of Ghislane Maxwell, as if it's something far removed from them. But I find that hard to believe. But I know that there will be no court of public opinion as it relates to Black children, what's happening to them behind the wall. That's just my take on it. Yeah, I think she was on A View too as well, I think. But I do know her from Big Brother, that reality television show, whatever it's called. But, again, I want to see more commentary um, for Black children, Black men and Black women who are in entertainment and everything that they have to endure sexually, um, for these predators out here. We have too many predators out here. So, again, I'm going to get ready to get off my soapbox. We getting ready to close this one out. Brother Ashe, Brother BlakSmith, first, your thoughts and commentary?
Well, I mean, I believe we're ending this over 2 year now legacy of living in the days and age of the snake bite and all of its tenant accessories. We just gotta hang on, continue to be chosen, love and respect each other, know what's around you, and know how to move. You know what I'm saying? Because we get into them last days where it's all going to flip, and we're going to see who the real true kings and queens are. So I advise everybody within my listening audience right now, whether you're listening to this on YouTube a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, or if you're listening live right now, or if you're recording it to listen to it later on, or listen to it again for that matter. Keep loving and respecting the people, fighting for what you know is right, and standing on your own 10 toes down. And let's get it. Y'all know who I am. I'm Flavius Jones. They call me BlakSmith in New York. But, when I'm outside of the New York area, I'm Flavius Jones. You can reach me there on Facebook. I got books. I also have a blog, www.goodchiba, exactly like it's spelled and sounds, .blogspot.com. And as well, I'm suspended on Facebook right now. So if you want to get at me, just inbox me, because I'm not going to be able to talk to you at public. I love Keisha. I love Brother Ashe, Brother Tad. He already know. I see y'all next time. Peace.
Yes. Yo, I just want to say happy belated birthday to Dr. Phil Valentine. I believe it was last week. I'm not sure the exact date.
The 16th.
Oh, it's the 16th. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, happy belated birthday to him. We had him on the show. Definitely a good brother and supporter, elder of our whole platform. But yeah, this was a very interesting conversation. There's a lot of things going on right now. But remember, this is always our forum. This is for us, for the community. We really, like I said, Keisha, we really want to start bringing in people so we can start taking calls again. So we're going to start doing that. So look forward to that. Maybe next week or the following, we'll start bringing y'all in so you can give y'all input on some of the topics. But yeah, I'm just feeling great. I'm ready to capitalize and be powerful. It's a big moon out. It's a full moon out right now. But I stepped outside. The moon, the energy is huge right now. You know what I'm saying? And we just got to make sure we be in our best selves, always improving. Your brother Ashe SJ, I'm working on some things in the background. So some powerful things is about to happen for myself. And I just want to see all of us level up, family. You know what I'm saying? It's 2022. I don't want to see y'all doing the same thing from last year. I don't want to see that. A lot of our people that follow us is very powerful in their own right. Got a lot of talent, a lot of skills. We need y'all. We need y'all to level up, family, so we can all be powerful. None of us up here is leaders. You know what I'm saying? We leaders as we lead. We leaders in the sense that we lead. You know what I'm saying? But in the element of, in the spirit of being a true worker and somebody that works for the people, that's how we lead. You know what I'm saying? And everybody else that we deal with, we always try to cultivate that and breed more warriors. So looking forward to the next show. We definitely gonna do it up. Shout out to Sister Keisha. That book that you should, I gotta read that. I gotta read that about Sidney Poitier. Sister Keisha always got the jewels for real. So make sure y'all check that out. If you want to go back and watch the replay so you can catch the book and all the information that we drop, please go on YouTube or Facebook. You can watch the replay right on Pro Black Talk on all social media. Share this video, family. Let's get it. Your brother Ashe SJ signing out. True courage is knowing how to suffer. battlefield is where you stand. Brr, Sister Keisha.
Blah. Sorry. Can't hear you, sis.
Again, thank you, family, for coming in and joining us every week as you normally do right here on the Brooklyn Bridge where it goes down. Again, your homework assignment. You have to Google the article 1967, September 10th from the New York Times about Sidney Poitier. It is called Why Do White Folks Love Sidney Poitier So? And then you can go and download the audio book, one of his autobiography. He had one of three, but the one, The Measure of a Man. Go to chapter 6 and listen to the rebuttal of that argument, if you will, and then come back next week and let me know what you think. Again, thank you, Brother BlakSmith, for joining us. We enjoy you and enjoy your commentary, and so do
Thank you, love.
our viewers. So we had to keep you in on the check-in. Again, family, stand firm on your square. Oh, shout out to Dr. Leonard Jeffries, his Earth Day too as well.
Yeah.
So shout out to Dr. Leonard Jeffries
All right.
from the Thorough Black Talk Worldview host. And shout out to Dr. Fillet, the Brooklyn William Mackey Study Group. Their next guest will be, I believe, Dr. Arthur Lewis. Once I get the info, I'll let you all know. And then next month, the whole month is with Brother Trust Graham, and you are not going to want to miss that broadcast of Brooklyn William Mackey Jr.'s History Club. Check out Community Cop Show on YouTube. And again, family, stay black, stay strong, stay up. We'll see you next week on the bridge. We out, y'all. Good night.
Hey.